In this video, we're going to be covering how to fill in your CA7, CA7A, CA7B, and your direct deposit form SF 1199A. There's a bit of confusion when it comes to the claim for compensation CA7 form, and I'm not 100% sure if it's confusion or it's just a bit intimidating. So what you're going to find out is that we're quite literally just filling in the boxes. Take each box one at a time, and what you'll find is that this is very easy to fill out. So obviously we would start with the section 1 and then go through each question until we get to the end. So here we go. Name, last name first, first name second, middle initial. B is your mailing address. Very easy. You do want to make sure that, of course, your handwriting is legible. You don't want to make a mistake. It could cause a delay in your payment. If you're submitting CA7s, you definitely will have an OWCP file number, case number. You're going to go ahead and put that number in this box here. Email address is optional. The very fact that you're trying to claim compensation, in this case, I would put your email address in. They're probably not going to contact you on the email, as most of their documentation has to go out by mail, but you never know. So if you'd like, go ahead and put that in. Date of injury. Sometimes people do forget their date of injury. If you don't remember it, the OWCP file number or claim number and the date of injury are going to be on your approval letter from OWCP. So if you do forget it, you can go ahead and get it from there. Your social is necessary, so make sure you put it in there. F, telephone or fax number. Most people are not using fax these days. If you do have one, put it in. Why not? Telephone number doesn't necessarily have to be your home number. It just has to be a home number, cell number, whatever is the most easy to contact you on. So that's section 1. Very, very easy. Moving along to section 2. Remember what I said a couple minutes ago. All we're going to do is go box by box, and that's it. We're going to answer what we answer and follow the directions. So compensation is claimed for what? What did you use, or what are you trying to get compensation for in this scenario? In section 2, we have 4 options. Leave without pay, LWOP, leave buyback, C, other wage loss, specified type such as downgrade, loss of night differential, etc. D, schedule award. Most folks are going to be checking off boxes A and B. And because of that, we're largely going to be talking about what to do in those scenarios. For the most part, you're going to be submitting these for each payroll period. If your payroll period is once a week, then you'll submit these once a week. It's usually 2-week period, so you'll submit these every 2 weeks. For the purpose of our example, we're going to use leave buyback. So as I told you from the beginning, we're going to be checking off boxes and filling in dates for the most part. So in this scenario, we would check leave buyback. Again, just for example purposes, we're going to use a 2-week period. Now that we have our date range in, we have to answer the next question. Was this intermittent or not? If you worked even 1 hour, a half day, 1 day, any amount of time during the time period, during the date range that you entered, you need to click yes. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That will allow me to show you how to use every form in the 7 series. So we're going to go ahead and click yes. Now, if you did not work at all, obviously you would click no and then follow the instructions here, go to section 3 and complete form 7B. So we are going to complete that form, just not right now. We're going to finish this one first. I want to show you how to fill out the 7A. We're going to click on yes, it was intermittent. But like I said, if you do not work at all during the time period that you entered in the inclusive date range, then you would check off no. Well, just like I said earlier, all you're going to do is check off boxes, enter date ranges, and follow the directions. So here's a set of directions. Go to section 3. And we also need to fill out form CA7B. We answered yes. So if intermittent, complete form 7A, the time analysis sheet. We are going to do that once we're done here. Moving along to section 3. This is section 3. In section 3, they're asking you if you've had any other income outside your federal job. You must report any and all earnings from employment, even outside of your federal job. Include any employment for which you received a salary, wages, income, sales commission, or payment of any kind during the periods claimed in section 2, which in our example is January 1st to January 14th. Include self-employment, odd jobs, involvement in business enterprises, as well as service in the military. It's important to note what they say here. Fraudulently concealing employment or failing to report income may result in forfeiture of compensation benefits and/or criminal prosecution. Have you worked outside your federal job for the periods claimed in Section 2? If so, refer to the instructions which provide further clarification. If you did, you need to check yes. You'll need to put the name of the business and the address, the dates that you worked, and the type of work it is. If you check yes, you'll put that information here. Now, for the most part, when people get hurt, especially with CA1 injuries, they're hurt to the point where they actually can't work another job because they've been injured. So 90% of the time, folks check no. So we've checked either yes or no. Now we have to follow the direction which says go to Section 4. Section 4. Is this the first CA7 claim for compensation you have filed for this injury? Let's answer the question. If it's yes, which it most likely is if you're watching this video, yes. Complete sections 5 through 7 in Form SF1199A, the direct deposit sign-up form, which I'm going to show you how to fill in at the end of this video. If this is not your first time filling out this form, you're going to check no, and then read the directions right here. If changes to dependent status, direct deposit information, or if a claim has been filed with the U.S. Civil Service Retirement, another federal retirement disability law, or with the Department of Veterans Affairs, complete sections 5 through 7, or a new SF 1199A. If no, complete section 7. At this point, we would make our selection here, yes or no, and then follow the instructions. We're going to go along the lines that this is our first time filling out this form. However, if it's not, select no. Just remember, if you select no, you'll have to select yes or no here and follow those instructions as well. Section 5. For the most part, most of the folks who come through our facilities have dependents. So I'm going to show you how to fill out this section. Here you'd go ahead and list your dependents. We're going to go ahead and just use John Doe Jr., whose social is and date of birth, January 2018. Relationship, living with you? Yes or no? You would check the box. For dependents not living with you, complete items A and B below. So let's just go ahead and try that out. No. Are you making support payments for a dependent noted above on your attachments? Yes. If yes, you need to enter the name of the person you're making support payments to. In this case, we're just going to use Jane Doe. You'll need to enter the address, city, state, and zip code. Once you've completed that, you'll move on to the next box, B. B, were support payments ordered by a court? If yes, check yes. If no, check no. If yes, attach a copy of the court order. Once you've completed that section, we'll move on to Section 6. Section 6 is right here. Will there be a claim against a third party? If yes, select yes. If no, select no. Have you ever applied for or received disability benefits from the Department of Veterans Affairs? If yes, you'll check yes here. Put the claim number in, full address of VA office where claim was filed, and then enter the nature of disability and monthly payment. Be sure to do both. If no, it makes it much easier. You select no and move on. Have you ever applied for or received payment under any federal retirement or disability law? If yes, select yes, add the claim number, enter the date the annuity began, amount of monthly payment, and then your retirement system. Select which one of these it was and move on. If no, select no. Now, you've already completed page 1 of the CA7. You'll have to go ahead and read this information prior to signing. You always want to make sure you know what you're signing. Isn't that correct? Once you have read that, put your signature, add your date. Now, if we scroll down, what you'll notice is there's a second page. There's a third page. On page 4 is Privacy Act information. Page 3 are instructions. And page 2 is going to be filled out by your employing agency. Nothing to worry about there. They'll take care of that. Once you've completed 7, we scroll back up top. We were instructed to fill out the 7B and the 7A. So just to kind of go in order, We're going to go to the 7A next. So just like the 7, the time analysis form, or if we check the bottom right-hand corner of the form 7A, is just filling in one box at a time and taking things nice and slow. So name of employee, social security number, required, OWCP case number, that's required, and periods covered by this form. The period in box 4 has to match what you put in section 2. So in this scenario, we use January 1st. Over here, we have to use January 1st. And the end date was January 14. If these do not match, these forms will get rejected. Box 5, total hours claimed. If you used LWOP, you'll put those in there. If you're trying to do a leave buyback, you'll put those hours in there. It is possible to fill in both, especially on your first one. The reason why we have to fill out the 7A is because on the 7, our time was intermittent. If you have intermittent time, you must fill out a time analysis form, which is the 7A. Okay, so let's go back there. In this scenario, what you would do here is enter the dates. I've gone ahead and entered all the dates, as you can see here on the left-hand side. I cut all that time out because it was boring. Now what you're simply going to do is go line by line. January 1st, are you claiming compensation for this day or not? Well, in this case, we're not. So if no, you don't have to do anything else. We move on to the next day, January 2nd. Are we claiming compensation for this day? Yes, we are. On this day, we used 4 hours of LWOP and worked 4 hours. Reason for visit, medical doctor appointment. It's important to note that for every day that you're claiming, you do need to have medical documentation for, or physical therapy notes. So in our offices, what we do is every time you come to our office, we're going to produce some sort of a form for you. If you're meeting with a medical provider, you'll get a CA-20. In addition to the CA-20, the doctor will complete what are called SOAP notes. In most cases, the SOAP notes are going to be overkill for what OWCP is looking for in order to process this form. So we'll let you leave with a CA-20 and upload the SOAP notes directly to OWCP via eComp. On days when you come to our office and you're doing physical therapy, we will generate a physical therapy progress note. You will also leave with that progress note. As I've said previously in another video, we give you 2 copies of everything that we produce. One is for your records and one is to give to your agency. Everything that we produce will also get uploaded via eComp to OWCP. Moving on to January 3rd. Is compensation being claimed? Yes. So let's say in this scenario, you worked 4 hours and you used 4 hours of leave. Well, what type? Sick, annual, or other. If you're not using Adobe, like what I'm using here, what you'll need to do is put a S in this box for sick, A for annual, O for other. Those directions, as you can see, are right here. And just as an example, on this day we went to physical therapy. Remember what I said, for every day that you're claiming compensation, you have to have a note or some sort of documentation that proves that you actually went to therapy. As you can see, this is not too difficult. What you would do is just go right down the line. So we have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Well, what happened to the 7th? Well, that was a Sunday. 8, 9, 10, and so on. Okay, for the days that you will be asking for compensation, you need to write or check yes. You will enter the amount of time that you used, the amount of time that you worked, and enter the reason for leave use. Their example is doctor's visit, therapy, etc. Okay, now on the days where you're not claiming compensation, it's because you worked that entire day. Now remember the reason why we're filling out this form in the first place. It's because on the 7, you checked off that your time was intermittent. That means that you worked some days. Now let's go back to the 7 briefly. Here we are back on the first page of the 7. Now, if you did not have any intermittent days on or off, you would have checked no. Which means that there would be no requirement to fill out the 7A, and they would just pay you your workers' compensation rate. If you're completely out of work and you have a CA-17 taking you off of work, there's no requirement to fill out a 7A, and they'll just pay you your workers' compensation rate for the days that you put in the inclusive date range, which in our example is January 1st through January 14. Let's cut back to the CA-7A. Once you've completed all the days in that work period, you'll total up the hours for each column. You'll go ahead and sign, put the date that you signed. Then someone at your agency will go ahead and verify this information with any exceptions, which they'll list here. Then they'll sign and date it. At that point, they'll get it over to Injury Comp or eComp. Page 2 are the instructions for completing the 7A, which at this point we're done. Now, we did decide to go ahead and use leave at some point, sick or annual time. So we do have to fill out a 7B. Let's go ahead and cut to the 7B. Here we have the leave buyback worksheet, certification and election. We know that this is the 7B because it says it right here in the bottom right-hand corner. This is the easiest form you're going to fill out. Quite literally, you put your name in, your OWCP file number, your social security, and the dates that you put on the 7, which is January 1st through January 14th. Once you've completed the employee statement, which is A through D, shown here, you are done. It's the easiest form. Let's look at how you know you're done. Well, if we come down here to the instructions, you're required to complete Form 7. If necessary, fill out Form 7A. Submit both Form 7 and 7A if 7A is appropriate. The agency will provide you with an estimate of workers' compensation benefits due, the amount owed to the agency in order for the leave to be restored, minus the amount you must pay the agency. So we scroll down just a little bit more. What we see is that the agency is required to fill everything out from Section 1 on. Now, once they've completed that and they send it back to you, at that point, now you have a decision to make. I do not want to repurchase the leave at this time. I do want to repurchase the leave at this time. A lot of people have a hard time understanding this because this is a bit confusing. Why is this a leave buyback? Let me go ahead and show you something on a separate piece of paper. Just as an example, let's say you make $100 per day. When you use sick or annual time, it pays at 100%, meaning you will receive a check for $100. Workers' compensation pays at either 66% if you have no dependents, meaning you don't claim anyone except for yourself on your tax return, or 75% if you have even just one dependent. Well, since you've used your sick or annual time, you've been paid $100. Now you want to get that time back, but the workers' comp rate for that same day is $75. So in order to get that time back, you'll need to pay the $25 difference. Paying the difference back is why this is called a buyback. Said differently, if you've used $1,000 worth of sick or annual time, you will need to pay back your agency $250 to get your hours back because the pay rate for workers' comp would have only been $750 for that same time period, and you received an overpayment of $250. It is not an absolute requirement for you to buy back your time. The greatest portion of people that I come in contact with choose to buy back their time because it benefits them in the long run. However, a small portion of people say, I've already used that money. I don't want to have to do a buyback and pay the agency the overpayment. If that's the case, when we go back to the 7B, after your agency has filled in their portion of the form, in this area here, they'll tell you what you owe them. If you feel as though you want to get your time back, it's quite simple. All you would need to do is check L. If you do not want to repurchase your leave at that time, check off K. Very, very simple. K, I do not want to purchase the time back. L, I do want to purchase the time back. Well, at this point, folks, we have completed all the forms and now just need to talk about how to fill out our direct deposit form. Here we are on the direct deposit form. Again, very, very easy to fill out. There are 3 pages to this form and they're all identical. The first one is for your agency. The second one is identical to the first one, and that's for the financial institution, meaning your bank or credit union. The third one is identical to both of the previous, and that is your copy. Just to be easy, we're going to go back to the top. All you have to do is go box to box, just like we did with every other form. Over here, you're going to put your name and address, your telephone number. In B, name of person entitled to payment, which is going to be you. In C, you're going to go ahead and put your claim number. Then go to D and check off whether this is a checking or savings account. Then go to E and put your account number. Just go ahead and put your entire account number in there. If there's extra boxes, don't worry about it. In box F, you're going to check Other and write OWCP. Box G, you're going to leave blank. Here in Payee, Joint Payee Certification, you're going to go ahead and sign and date. Joint Account Holder Certification can be left blank. In section 2, what you're going to write is DOL/OWCP. In the government agency address, you're going to put the address of the local district office that services your area, which can be found on any correspondence you've received from OWCP. Section 3 is going to be filled out by your financial institution. They'll put their address, the routing number, the depositor account title. They'll go ahead and print their name, sign, telephone number, and date it. I said this at the beginning of the video. You do want to make sure that everything is written clearly. If you go ahead and put a 4 and you handwrite it in there, but it's somewhat that OWCP interprets it as a 9, your money is not going to get into your account. It's going to create a hassle for you. You must write everything on every form legibly so that there's no confusion. This concludes our video. Thank you for watching, and remember to make it a great day.